You got infantry around you?
You control most sectors on the battlefield.
That guy fired probably 40 bullets at me before he killed me. Oh, what a dick. Oh, come on. This guy ran from like 45 meters away to revive me. Somebody parachutes down right behind him and shoots him in the back. Hey everyone, hope you're having a great week. It's almost the weekend and Friday Night Battlefield is just around the corner. We got a quality of life update this week in 2042, and the patch notes had a whole host of changes listed. Most notably a much needed nerf on the Hind and Condor's 50, and a very much not needed buff to DMRs, which has made one of the best guns in the game, the BSVM, even better. But while there were extensive patch notes, the link for which I've attached below, there were a few significant changes to the game that weren't in those notes, but confirmed by devs on Twitter later on. In this video, I'm going to highlight those changes. If you found any of this information useful, feel free to leave a like on this video. Let's get to it. The first and most significant change not listed in the patch notes was yet another nerf to Sundance, this time in the form of a reduction of their grenade belt. On Twitter, Victor pointed out that Sundance can now only have up to one scatter or anti-armor grenade and tagged the community managers asking if it was intended. Community manager Stratford quote tweeted his reply and confirmed that it was. His response reads, "Correct. Sundance can now only have one grenade in their belt, and the cooldown has been lowered to 15 seconds. Sorry this was missed in the update notes." So, I of course hopped in to test this out and confirm it myself, and sure enough, they no longer carry two of these grenades on spawn. My first reaction to this is that this is an overreaction to what is largely only a noticeable problem on the underground areas of the new map Exposure. Literally everywhere else, this isn't a problem. Further to that, Irish as a specialist counters any nade spam problems with ease. His gadget eats them for breakfast. However, with the 15-second cooldown, it is perhaps not that big an issue that the scatter grenade count has been capped. Unfortunately, the same can't really be said for the anti-armor grenade, and that goes from next to useless to, well, useless. One other thing to note is that since this patch, switching between grenade types on their belt has been very wonky. Sometimes it'll tell you that you're on one grenade type, but when you toss what you think is an anti-armor, it'll sprout a scatter grenade. There's definitely some buggy stuff happening here. Hopefully that gets looked at. Still, Sundance has the wingsuit, and that alone makes them a top specialist choice. We'll see if they make any more adjustments to them down the line. Moving on, another specialist got a nerf that's been discussed since the launch of the game. Specifically, Casper's drone has had some changes regarding the application of C5 to unsuspecting enemies. For this information, we go to Florian, aka Drunk Z3, aka the Human Aimbot, who is currently lead game designer at DICE. In a tweet reply regarding the patch notes, Florian had this to say, "Oh yeah, and there's been changes done to the OVP, Recon drone, and C5 not mentioned in the notes." And he finishes this with a smiley face. He did not elaborate on just what these changes were, so I hopped in and had a look. I was expecting C5 to maybe not stick to the drone, or a limit of one, or something like that, but what they've done was actually a pretty creative solution to what some have seen as a very abusable problem in the game. Now when you load the drone up with C5, it appears to become weighed down. The drone flight speed is greatly reduced, like a lot. As you can see here, you cannot keep pace with anyone or anything, so good luck catching a tank unawares. Even if you see a completely inept tanker parked in blind, it's going to take a month of Sundays for you to fly the drone to it and detonate. Beyond that, detonation seemed to be inconsistent for me. I tested it a few times in a breakthrough match and was not able to set it off and do any enemy player or vehicle damage. Now it could be that they ran off or drove off before I set it off, or something else that I was unable to tell. When I tested this in solo, I did discover that I was able to destroy a jet that I had landed with the C5 drone from 50 meters away. But when I tried to destroy a Jeep with the same C5 drone from behind cover at 100 meters away, it did detonate, but did not destroy the Jeep. I'm not sure why or what the intended detonation behavior is. Regardless, the massive speed nerf of the C5 drone makes it pretty much not viable. The next hidden change is a quality of life improvement that is seemingly small but feels so huge. This comes from Kamal Akay on Twitter. Sorry if I butchered that name. He is a technical UI design dev at DICE, and he says, "In 1.1 patch, a small but important UX addition to the game is you can now access pause menu right away when you join a server. Starting a game should also be quicker now, but when it's not, you can browse your collection and other tabs." So I fired up the start of a round to show you what he means here. Before this patch, when you loaded into the game and started hearing the round announcer's preamble, you You could obviously choose your specialist and spawn point and so on, but you could not access any other UI. You couldn't go to your options, you couldn't look at the scoreboard. Basically, once you selected your spawn point, you were stuck in a pre-game purgatory looking at the map as a timer counted down and you heard the same spiel about sending Ivan home for the millionth time. You couldn't even back out of the game until the round proper started. Now you have access to everything, and I agree with Kamal when he says this is a small but important addition. Pre-round is the best time to fix settings you may have forgot about, check your weekly mission progress, see if that pilot who farmed you all last round is in this new match, pretty much anything you want to do that you had to wait to do before. Now you can even back out of the game if you want without having to wait for the round to actually start. Another huge bonus to this is when you have an open mic in your squad that's just blasting noise, you can now mute it right away instead of having to take your headphones off until the round starts to save your hearing. I didn't know that this was on the devs' radar, but it is such a welcome change. The final unmentioned change that I have here comes from none other than your big brother Steve on Twitter. You can also find him on Twitch. If you don't know Steve, you should. He's one of the nicest guys in the Battlefield community and a hell of a Battlefield medic to boot. Steve posted this on Twitter. New scope for the SCAR and VCAR in hashtag Battlefield 2042. Did not see it mentioned elsewhere. And then he's got a screenshot of it in game. Actually, it's two new optics and they can both be unlocked through gameplay. The Target 8T 1.25 to 4.5x scope can be unlocked by getting 50 kills with the SCAR while aiming, and the PSO 1M3, a 5x marksman scope, can be unlocked by getting 50 kills with the SCAR from a distance of 125 meters, and I assume further. The same optics are also available for the VCAR with the same unlock requirements. Here I noted that these progress independently from the mastery and other optics, so if you don't have the other optics unlocked or the guns leveled up, you don't need to wait to start progress for these, which I think is a good thing. I had a quick look at the SVK and noted that only the PSO is available in that tree, so looks like other weapons might also have these new optics available, but perhaps not both. Worth a look anyways. So that's all I got for you today. Shout out to all the devs on Twitter who are keeping the community up to date on things like that are missed in the notes, and Steve for catching the new optics. I've popped a link to his Twitch below. This update just continues to move the needle in the right direction for 2042, and I'm happy about it. How do you feel about these changes, as well as everything in the patch notes? Leave a comment and let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the battlefield.